45 minutes of the most recent news reporting about Liberia and the rest of our one world. I'm Lee Monjue presenting. In the headlines, government of Liberia launches the electronic government procurement system. President Joseph Boakai says the system will reduce corruption and foster economic growth. War Crimes Court Committee Chairman reassures establishment of one economic crimes court. And Jarad Babu says the court will end a culture of impunity. Government of Liberia debunks report of potential deportation of over 1,500 Liberians from the United States. Information Minister Jeremy Kear says such report is false and misleading. And away from Liberia, Malawi's President Lazarus Chikwera has ordered the military to begin preparing to withdraw from their peacekeeping mission in the volatile Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. These plus our news bulletin, the voices of the newsmakers, details of this development are all packaged of West Aloysius Chea and the news bulletin. Good evening, Aloysius.
Grieving listeners. President Joseph Grieving listeners. President Joseph Boakai has officially launched the electronic government procurement system, making it mandatory for all government procurement entities to use the platform in an effort to enhance transparency, efficiency, and accountability in public procurement. Speaking at the EJS Ministerial Complex in Congo Town Thursday, President Walker underscored that the system is a critical step toward reducing corruption and fostering economic growth through the streamlined digital procurement process. President Walker emphasized that his administration remains committed to fighting corruption by upholding public procurement and financial management laws, strengthening integrity institutions, and ensuring that public funds are managed effectively. He further assured stakeholders that the government will mobilize additional resources to address potential challenges in the system's implementation and will continue to work with international development partners to strengthen Liberia's procurement reform agenda. Meanwhile, President Walker lauded the private sector's participation, noting that the system creates an enabling environment for businesses to compete fairly for government contracts. The EGP system, developed with the support of the World Bank and the African Development Bank, aims to eliminate manual inefficiencies in procurement by allowing government agencies and businesses to engage in a transparent online based bidding process. The chairman of the Committee for the Establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court, Jada Babu, has assured Liberians that the establishment of the court is on course. According to Councillor Jada Babu, the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court is paramount for Liberians, adding that it will bring to an end the culture of impunity. Commenting on rumors that the process has been halted based on the death of Senator Prince Johnson, Councillor Babu noted that the establishment of the court was not meant for the late senator, but perpetrators of war crimes. He added that despite the alleged perpetrators of war crimes are dying regularly, the War and Economic Crimes Court will still be established, noting that those involved in still life will be prosecuted. Councillor Jara Babu made the comments at a press conference in Monrovia Thursday. He said the committee is exerting tremendous efforts in collaborating with legal practitioners for the formulation of War and Economic Crimes Court statute. Councillor Babu called on Liberians to unite with one voice and ensure legal actions are taken against perpetrators of war and economic crimes. The government of Liberia has clarified reports of deportation of over 1,500 Liberians from the United States. Recent social media publications claimed that over 1,500 Liberians are being earmarked by the U.S. government as illegal immigrants and expecting deportation from the United States of America to Liberia. Speaking at the Ministry of Information Thursday's press briefing, Information Minister Jeremy Kear said the government has not been informed of any mass deportation of Liberians from the U.S. He clarified that four deportees prior to the ascendancy of Trump were expected to return to the country on account of illegally residing in the United States. Pierre asserted that backdoor diplomacy is ongoing between Liberian and U.S. officials to ensure critical engagements to find an amicable way forward amidst the challenges. Vice President Jeremiah Kung has underscored the importance of what he described as the country's national vernacular colloquial. Speaking at the unveiling of the Art and Culture Gallery at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism Thursday, Vice President Jeremiah Kung said, colloquial is unique to Liberians. I wonder why many people feel ashamed to speak it in public places. The vice president noted that unlike Liberia, other countries in the sub-region prioritize the practice of their local parlance, noting that every citizen needs to adapt a culture that encourages the teaching and practice of colloquial. Vice President Kwon, however, rallied the support of citizens to join what he termed as national endeavor to bring sense of pride and belonging amongst Liberians. Meanwhile, the Liberia's vice president has called on the national legislature to support the initiative of the National Tourism Authority. He added that tourism is in many countries contribute significantly to the overall growth of the economy, urging the lawmakers to craft a budget that will highlight the sector as a first sector for onward growth. The chairperson of the House's Committee on Information, Broadcasting, Tourism and Culture is calling for the re-establishment of the Kenija Cultural Village. Representative Bena Benson, speaking in Monrovia Thursday, says the Kenija Cultural Village seeks to breed young people into understanding the rich cultural heritage of the country. The District 17 representative asserted that the site, when reopened, will further expose the nation's cultural portfolio to the rest of the world for possible investment into arts, crafts, and culture. He wants more attention and investment in the cultural sector, noting that such investment will bring economic dividends. The Liberian Senate has unanimously agreed to repeal the act establishing the Ministry of Internal Affairs, replacing it with the newly created Ministry of Local Government. The decision, according to the Liberian Senate, is in agreement with the Local Government Act of 2018, which seeks to decentralize governance and empower local authorities. The act is expected to strengthen local governance by devolving more power and responsibilities to local authorities, thereby enhancing service delivery. Despite the dissolution of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, all contracts, orders, and decisions made under its authority prior to the enactment of the new law will remain valid. The newly established Ministry of Local Government will assume responsibility for overseeing local governments, ensuring balanced socio-economic development across Liberia. Liberia Permanent Representative to the United Nations, Louis Brown, has disclosed that the African Union has overwhelmingly endorsed Liberia's bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. According to Ambassador Brown, all 54 countries have selected Liberia to bid for a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. He revealed that the election will take place in June at the UN headquarters in New York, noting that Liberia will need a minimum 127 votes of the total 193 votes of the United Nations member states. Speaking at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism Thursday, Ambassador Brown noted that the bid marks a historic moment for Liberia's involvement at the UN as the country last served on the Security Council in 1916. He intoned that during that time, Liberia advocated for unity and the independence of African nations, promoted and supported UN peacekeeping missions in Africa, and also acted as a mediator in international disputes. Lofa County Senator Mamo Saro said the petty right under the intellectual property of Liberia has denied Liberia's entrepreneurs from participating in the market fairly. Speaking to reporters on Thursday at his Capitol building office, Senator Saro stressed the need for these laws to be reviewed. Reviewing a communication had been written to the pro tem of the Liberian Senate requesting a review of existing laws. Senator Cyrus asserted that the petty laws are rights given to investors to protect them from additional infrastructure, which only limited Liberians from participating in the market. He said the review of the law will only allow Liberians to fully participate in the market. The Lofa County Senator further disclosed that plenary was overwhelmed with the decision and has forwarded the communication to the Committee of Commerce and Judiciary to immediately intervene. Following the suspension of U.S. assistance to USAID, Nima County District 7 Representative Musa Benite has announced a reduction of his salary and benefits by 50%. Representative Benite in a social media post said his decision is based on the danger the suspension of USAID assistance to Liberia poses to the country's economy. He added that such move is intended to facilitate government's effort to support schools, hospitals, and the security of the state. Representative Benete noted that in consultation with the management of Sacre PA Comprehensive Health Center, 50% of the salaries and benefits from now to December will go toward the well-being of the institution. According to him, the hospital 2025 budget was cut from $120,000 to $75,000, jeopardizing the ability to undertake meaningful projects and improve services. The Nema County representative asserted that his decision is not just about making a financial contribution, but about demonstrating leadership, patriotism, and selflessness for the country and its people. Meanwhile, Representative Benita has challenged members of the legislature, the Chief Justice, and members of the judiciary to take similar actions. Bon County District 2 Youth President Flomo Gitara has accused Representative James Colette and his surrogates of a bad leadership scandal. Flomo Gitara said Representative James Colette and officials have refused to work in the interest of citizens of the district. According to him, Representative James Colette has failed to deliver on campaign promises, thereby leaving residents of District 2 frustrated. He maintained that residents of the district continues to experience numerous challenges, including access to safe drinking water and health care, amongst others. The Cape Mount University Students Association has clarified Mosul family's claims and recognizes Lawrence Gray as president of the association after many social media speculations surrounding the association's leadership. Addressing a press conference held in Monrovia on Thursday, Richard Sharif, head of the African Methodist Episcopal University chapter, stated that at no point was Ms. Mosul Family elected as president of the Cape Mount University Students Association. Sharif emphasized that Ms. Family has no authority over any chapter, contrary to a recent claim made in a press release. He warned county authorities and the public not to engage into any dealings with Ms. Family, stating that failure to heed to the warning will be at their own risk. Sharif, however, acknowledged the leadership of Lawrence Gray as president and commended his efforts in said positions. The Cape Mount University Students Association also expressed its gratitude to the local leadership for their ongoing support. They reaffirmed their commitment to working in the best interest of all students of Cape Mount University and promised to engage constructively with stakeholders to ensure that student voices are heard and their concerns are addressed accordingly. Well, Lee, that's the latest in the news. Bulletin is back to you for continuation of Kear Newsline.
Aloysius Chea away for full bulletin of news from the news center. The news bulletin is a regular feature on Kear Newsline. Straight into the news now, President Joseph Boakai has officially launched the electronic government procurement system, making it mandatory for all government procurement entities to use the platform in an effort to enhance transparency, efficiency, and accountability in public procurement. Speaking at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex in Congo Town Thursday, President Boakai underscored that the system is a critical step toward reducing corruption and fostering economic growth through a streamlined digital procurement process.
Institution to go forward on the online procurement platform that seeks to strengthen transparency and accountability in the public procurement. We utilize this platform as a meaningful measure in the fight against corruption. evidently corrupting as soon as stubborn begins that has attempted to grasp the foundation of this nation and disappeared grasp of socioeconomic development because of corruption. As a government, we decide who identified against corruption and get very serious about it. This is evident by my administration's support to ongoing all pieces of legislation of public government and public financial management.
Meanwhile, President Joseph Boakai has lauded the private sector participation, noting that the system creates an enabling environment for businesses to compete fairly for government contracts.
The highest development is at the point of way because everybody sees an opportunity, but you don't have to tell you that will give you the right to be correct. We feel obligated to do this, but a single purpose of restoring bringing prosperity to this nation. As we look the UG system today, let me assure you that this government, under my leadership, will always strive to subscribe to all tenets of good government by providing the necessary support to keep the UG system functioning. We will reach out to our partners in several additional support that will address the challenges in implementation of the public procurement mission agenda of Nigeria. And the year that Nigeria has developed and rolled out such an electronic procurement system to 6 procuring entities.
President Joseph Boakai, the chairman on the committee for the establishment of an economic crimes court, Jala Babu, has assured Liberians that the establishment of the court is on course. According to Councillor Babu, the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court is paramount for Liberians, adding that it will bring an end to the culture of impunity. Councillor Babu made this comment at a press conference in Mobile Thursday.
Championships that are made in the second international community, and I expect all of you will be also achieve the results as a country, especially based on all the guarantees and assurances that we are having from the president and the government, and then also including the other members in the international community, bent on ensuring that this process comes to fruition. What is something well, again, now that so the first also is made and so it's was good. And let me say to you, it's what the decision is what's that transparency questions? The redress, the cycle, and moving from our society, the sense of community as a board. It's not about the things we see about that particular person. Whereas this, the government and told the decision with this is based on conduct.
At the same time, Councillor Jala Babu said the committee is exerting tremendous effort in collaborating with legal practitioners for the formulation of the War and Economic Crimes Court status. Councillor Babu called on Liberians to unite with one voice and ensure legal actions are taken against perpetrators of war and economic crimes code.
The last question for them is very well people are not and also the perpetrators as well as victims. That's a fact, that's a reality. You already have rights. You know that. But your advice Now expressing in this situation in Canada, I mean, just next to us, and since expensive over the family school, normal process, some people die, for people established, and people speaking up here, and people see the kind of succeed in their own. So if I was a person in the young this stuff, we still have enough to do, and of course, we definitely be established and prosecuted. And we have several things with some organizations, operating institutions, and we've also been able, as a market requirements, to do reports. The last year, development of roadmap meetings with individuals and organizations in Nigeria and Nigeria come meetings for Sierra and America Ethiopia, for Ethiopia, to work well for transitional justice policies.
Councillor Jarak Babu is the chairman on the committee for the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court. Liberia's representative to the United Nations, Louis Brown, has disclosed that the African Union has overwhelmingly endorsed Liberia's bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. He revealed that the election will take place in June at the UN headquarters in New York, noting that Liberia would need a minimum of 127 votes of the total 193 votes of the United Nations member states. He spoke at the Ministry of Information on Thursday.
Responsible for maintaining international, although all 193 member states of the UN are entitled to equal representation in the General Assembly, only 15 countries serve on the Security Council, 5 of which are permanent members with veto power. 10 non-permanent members serve rotational terms of 2 years. Africa has 3 non-permanent. The African Union, our continental umbrella organization, has unanimously endorsed Liberia to represent Africa during the 2026-2027. Although Liberia is a founding member of the United Nations since June of 1945, our country has only served on the Security Council once, and that was in 1961, when Liberia split a 2-year term with the Republic of Ireland. When Liberia served on the United Nations Security Council in 1961, it made several notable contributions. One, Liberia used its position to advocate for the unity and independence of African nations, particularly significant during a time when many African countries were still under. Liberia promoted and supported
Liberia's permanent representative to the United Nations, Louis Brown. Indeed, if you are just tuning in, you are listening to the 6 p.m. edition of Kear Newsline. Today is February 6, 2025. I'm Lee Monjue and the presenters Chea. Big stories top in the news this evening. Government of Liberia launches the electronic government procurement system. President Joseph Boakai says the system will reduce corruption and foster economic development. War Crimes Court Committee Chair reassures establishment of one economic crimes court. Councillor Jarak Babu says the court will end the culture of impunity. Government of Liberia debunks reports of potential deportation of over 1,500 Liberians from the United States. Information Minister Jeremy Kear says such information is false and misleading. And away from Liberia, Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has ordered the military to begin preparing to withdraw from the peacekeeping mission in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. We take another break to be back with more developments. Many thanks for reaching us. Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn has disclosed the importance of what he described as the country national vernacular Kurokwa. Speaking at the unveiling of the Art of Culture Gallery at the Ministry of Information Thursday, Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn said Kurokwa is unique to Liberians, but wondered why many people feel ashamed to speak it in public spaces.
Catch it easily. Children know the Kurokwa. If you sit here, everybody say, and I know what thing is talking about. They ask you, are you speaking English? You gotta tell them to speak Chi. You gotta tell them to speak Creole. We need to be proud of our Kurokwa speaking. Because we can talk to one another if you need to only us Liberia. If we preserve it and if possible, teach it in school. Liberian lawyer said, I bring contact. Nobody understands how to do it. Who are us? And so those are things we need to preserve. As a minister of information, like the power of the government, we need to start up the same kind of media houses are here. You go to radio station and speak a Kurokwa, you say the man, I go to school. I'm not English, man. I'm speaking English, you can't speak you. You can't speak Mama. You can't speak Bata, you can't speak People, you can't speak Bad. If I can tell you, it's me and me, I'm better. So we need to improve on our Kurokwa and make our children to learn the Kurokwa. And the media may not be ashamed. Sometimes they need to talk Kurokwa. I don't know about special program for Kurokwa, like making a rule. All you have to be speaking it. You're giving you so that the Kurokwa makes come back to the English. All you doing that is to teach it. So when you listen to the radio in Ghana and driving, you don't understand everything you say. So the guy speak English small, they flip in there and they come back out. I'm making you read. There's something in the car as a job. People will start tapping Texas because they want to read it, because they want to drive and tap it. Tap it with money. So stop paying somebody and say, look, I don't understand your people. I will pay you out and you have to take me across the market, take me across places because you can interpret to me what the people say you. It's another form of employment.
Meanwhile, the Liberian Vice President has called on the national legislature to support the initiative of National Tourism Authority.
Let's make choosing a focus point, and as a government, we can invest in it and pay some attention. Culture and tourism started in this country under President Trump. Every time I have a kid or walking in any high school, they say, well, President Trump has been away for 7 years. Why can't do it one birthday? But I think don't birthday, for some of the things that are happening, some of the things he did, and some of the things we see today. I mean, it's debatable, but in my mind, he did well. Let the marshal peace. And today, as I'm speaking, the world is watching me. They will have to do it differently and put more time to do better than do good work. We have to invest in this business. Like the representative and the senator, both chairperson said, the Canada resort, we have to put some, we have to be deliberate and put some money in it. They work together. I told you, while sitting by the minister, I told you, you need to do some draft and maybe a design, talk to some Liberian architect, and let's see the costs. We may not be able to pay all the money this year to do it, but we can start the process. An international group or companies in the country, retire other people. We will speak to them and they could chip in, and very soon, before you know, we will get it done. And so we need to be deliberate about it. Next time I send you my update when people come and say, oh, they want to invest in the Hotel Africa. I mean, I've seen more than 10 different groups that want to invest in Hotel Africa. So if you went to Hotel Africa today and back at the place group, you realize that what existed there. You can feel it. If it's possible, as a government, we need to redeem that place. Let's find some money and get some Liberian contractors. Let's action work. When we stop, the investors will be serious. They will come and say, oh, my man, you're stopping. But the time you let's see, maybe building a wall to flat.
Liberia Vice President Jeremiah Cohn still highlighting the Cultural Center, the chairperson of the Horses Committee on Information Broadcasting, Tourism and Culture is calling for the re-establishment of the Kenenja Cultural Village. Representative Benda Benson speaking in Monrovia Thursday said the Kenenja Cultural Village seeks to breed young people into understanding the rich cultural heritage of the country.
The push to build and support the recreation of kidney job. If we are serious about tourism, the re-establishment of kidney job must be prioritized. Kidney job serves as our cultural identity and give us cultural relevance. With the vice president and the senator, that's the all members of this high table, we must all put our hands together to re-establish. If we are to be serious, to push Liberia to the world, the engine that serves as our cultural identity and relevance. You know, that's a thing very up there with the senator. And I said something to him. Said the Liberian culture, we're not seeing too many young people as part of the dancers. Because our young people, no information, have no identity, have no relevance, or cultural identity that we must promote. So once again, in the tourism fund, there was many actors silent. Let us put hands together in making sure that the re-establishment of kidney job becomes a reality.
Mosurado County District 17 Representative and Chair on the House's Committee on Information Broadcasting, Tourism and Culture, Benda Benson. Lofa County Senator Mombo Sara says the petty right under the intellectual property of Liberia has denied Liberians entrepreneurs from participating in the market fairly. Speaking to reporters on Thursday at his Capitol building office, Senator Cyrus stressed the need for these laws to be reviewed, revealing that a communication has been written to the pro tempore requesting a review of existing laws.
So patent right is this right that's given to investigate to protect them from additional manufacturing. But in my view, over the years, the patent right has limited Liberians entrepreneurs from participating in the market fair. And so we as leader of this country and also entrepreneur myself decided that there's a need for us to review these laws. And so that's why we will put them and let them serve as military. And there's a need to review these laws are bottleneck for our entrepreneurs. And we think maybe these laws were crafted because maybe at the time that we never had the ability. But the time, some of the laws, some of the protections of 25 years beyond. And we think that need to be reviewed. We need to review those laws in order to give Liberians the opportunity to participate in the market freely and fairly.
Meanwhile, the Lofa County Senator has disclosed that Plenary was overwhelmed with the decision and has forwarded a communication to the Committee of Congress and Judiciary to immediately intervene.
They have agreed, in fact, sent a communication to the Committee on Comments and Judiciary and as to be able to immediately intervene into this matter and come to another conclusion on this. Our interest is in every people. We do everything possible to make sure that we can benefit from the output resources in our country. It is sad to note that most of these patent laws are giving foreigners especially revenues. But meanwhile, Liberians now are not capable, have the financial resources to be able to import these commodities. Even it will interest you to know that if it's some dental, perhaps some products, capital, how our Liberians entrepreneurs will survive? No, we need to create a middle class in this country. If to create a middle class in this country, we have to get in the platform. And these things are bottleneck
and hindrance to our business people, and it's affecting their resources, affecting their revenues. And so we need to relook at this and remove some of these bottlenecks.
Lofa County Senator Momo Cyrus. Bon County District 2 Youth President Flomo Gitela has accused Representative James Collet and his surrogate over bad leadership scandal. According to him, Representative Collet has failed to deliver on campaign promises, thereby leaving residents of District 2 frustrated. Here is Flomo Gitela speaking to reporters.
Very low, not only low, but very, very low. Okay. So if you may be talking about some of the challenges, I feel that the national leader is difficult finding in the district number 2. I talked about one of the Jason Bakule. He's very, very difficult in finding. To see him in district number 2, especially in the political seat of the electoral district number 2 follow that. Then we have our administrative building. The commissioner is seated there. I tend to be corrected because I'm not visible everywhere at every time. But 12 months before, I talked about the 2024. It was difficult to see Honorable Jason Bakule in Polo Black Town. Making it difficult for young people, for citizens to interact with him, to discuss issues affecting them. That could be a challenge for the citizens. Because sometimes the little man sitting in the corner who have his very good suggestion that will change the dynamics of how situation are like.
Bon County District 2 Youth President Flomo Gitila. And in foreign news, Malawi's President Lazarus Chikwera has ordered the military to begin preparing to withdraw from their peacekeeping mission in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The Malawi troops are part of the Southeastern African Bloc's military mission deployed in the DR Congo to help tackle armed groups. At least 20 peacekeepers, including 14 South Africans and 3 Malawian, were killed as the M23 rebels captured the key city of Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, last week. President Chikwera said on Wednesday that his decision was meant to honor the declaration of a ceasefire by the parties, even though the fighting is continuing. In a statement read on state TV Wednesday evening, he said the withdrawal of troops paved the way for their planned negotiations towards a lasting peace. Malawi's Information Minister Moses Kunkuyu told the BBC Newsday program that the planned withdrawal was being made in good faith. That's the foreign development. Well, listeners, on that foreign notice, I would like to draw down the curtains of today's Thursday, February 6, 2025, 6 p.m. edition of Kear Newsline. And this has been the joint effort of the News and Current Affairs Department, yet a Kear Communications Network. Many thanks to all of our reporters, contributors, editors who have been making this edition of the program a success. Many thanks to Aloysius who brought for us a full bulletin of national news. Mariama Jallo sat at control and handled the technical aspects. Many thanks to George Kwe who ensure our visibility goes beyond the studio. Before we take a leave, a relook of our headlines. Government of Liberia launches the electronic government procurement system. President Joseph Boakai says the system will reduce corruption and foster economic growth. War Crimes Court Committee Chairman reassures establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia. Jalak Babu says the court will end the culture of impunity. Government of Liberia debunks reports of potential deportation of over 1,500 Liberians from the United States. Information Minister Jeremy Pia says such report is false and misleading. And away from Liberia, Malawi's President Lazaro Chikwara has ordered the military to begin preparing to withdraw from their peacekeeping mission in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Many thanks for listening. For more news on this station at 6 a.m. tomorrow, at which time Kear News Run will return with more developing stories. I'm Lee Monjue, are packaged and presented. Good night.